welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over the temperature blanket. I just want to share my progress. I have finished all of January and I am really excited to show you because now I have 11 more months to go. I still need to get caught up. Today's the 25th, so yeah, I'm 25 days behind, but that's okay. Granny squares go pretty quick. I could knock out a week in about a day, and that includes sewing them all together into a row and then sewing it to the next row. Also, this is my first attempt at tapestry crochet. This is what it looks like. I know that there are other techniques to make it look a little more neat, but I do not know those techniques yet, so I'm going to need to do some research to figure that out. So I'm hoping that throughout my temperature blanket, month by month, each one will look a little cleaner. That's my goal. Hey, real quick before we move on, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to use some of the items I'm using, check out the links below. For now, I just want to share the process of this. So first, in my last video, I already had my first 4 squares here, and then I shared the first 3 temperature squares. So here's my color swatch. I'm kind of wishing that instead of going from the 1s to the 10s, I'm wishing I went from the 10s to the 9s, if that makes any sense. Instead of doing 21 to 30, I kind of wish I did 20 to 29. That would have changed this quite a bit because on a lot of these days, the highs or the lows were right there on the border. That, like, one of them in this last week would have been in the light green because it was 50 degrees for the high. That would have changed it, made it a little more colorful. But also, it makes me really happy when I get to change colors. So when I see the next 10, ooh, 50, I'm like, ooh, new color. Oh, wait, never mind. Just kidding, it's still the same color. So I kind of wish I changed the range for each color. I think it would have been a little bit better, but it's still going to turn out super cool either way. Also, with tapestry crochet, you probably noticed there's a lot of loose ends here. So, because there's a lot of color changes. To do this, each square is 10 stitches wide, and we've got 7. So I've got to make this part 70 stitches wide, and then I kind of played with this a little bit. I was trying to figure out how tall to make it. I was trying to figure out if I wanted it to be 10 tall or 20 tall, but instead I went with 15 because it was right in the middle, so that just seemed to work. And then I tried to find a website or an app that would allow me to create a grid, but I could not find anything. So instead I just created my own. I stapled some pages together and kind of eyeballed this a little bit, but drew it out in pen, and then in pencil I kind of colored in the squares that I want to be in black so that I can erase it and continue using it for the other months. So this was January's. I know you can't really see the lettering very well, but this is kind of the gist. I had to play with it for a little bit to find a configuration that I liked, and so I did single crochet down and back, down and back, down and back, and had to change colors every time. So I mean, it was really hard to keep track of too, because I mean, this first row where you start changing colors, you've got to start counting how many of each color there are between changes. So there's 5 white squares here, and then we've got 3 black squares, and we've got 5 white squares, 2 black squares. 3 white squares, 2 black squares, 1 white square. Yeah, you get the gist. It got kind of confusing, but I was quite surprised with myself that I was able to keep track of it so well. Color changes can be a bit difficult because it can come a little bit loose in between. I mean, I know you can see through these stitches pretty easily, but it'll be okay. At the end, when I finish this whole thing, I want to add a back to it. So I'm thinking maybe a minky, a soft minky to sew onto the back. I think that would be really fun. And that way I don't have to sew all of these ends in. I think I'll sew them in a little bit to make sure that they're like totally secure, because I know that there are some that are kind of loose here on the edges that I keep having to pull a little tighter to keep in place. So I think if I secure them enough, I'll be able to let them be wild. Maybe I'll cut them a little shorter, and then at the end of this project I will sew a minky back onto it. It'll be a nice cozy blanket. I'm very excited. Also, when stitching the edges, when single crocheting the edge between the squares, because each square already has a border on it, and I added a border around this, so my very first row was black. To kind of join between the corners, you're not going to be able to just crochet 10 and then just jump right over to crochet 10. You're going to have a little hole in the middle there. So I kind of messed with it a little bit, and this is going to be really difficult to understand since I'm not exactly showing it to you. I'm just explaining it, so I apologize. So I had finished my 10th stitch from this square, and then I had 1 loop on my hook, and then I did a yarn over and went into the first stitch going down this way, pulled up a loop, went into the first stitch going down this way, pulled up a loop. So now I have 4 loops on my hook, and I just pulled through 3. So now I've got 2 stitches, or 2 loops on my hook, and then I went into the first stitch going this way, pulled up a loop. So now I've got 3 on my hook again, so I pulled through all 3, and that counts as my very first stitch going across this direction. I hope that made sense. If not, that's okay. I was just really excited to share that with you. And I kind of did the same thing as I added my big border around the edge, just to make it nice and straight and less holy, if that makes sense. When I had to sew each row together, I couldn't just go back and forth and sew it all the way across like it was all one piece. I had to kind of go across and then kind of do a little circle into all 4 and then keep going. I also did not show you my technique on how I sew these together, so I will also show you that for February. I apologize for not going over very many of the steps for this because I got too excited. So I promise I'll show you for February. I'm really excited for this. It's going to be a fun project. I wish you happy crocheting and have a lot of fun. I will see you in my next video. Bye!